Hey YouTube land, hey, thanks for coming and checking out my channel, Pete's Snake Bite Kit. Gonna look at a couple more Cobra kits today. You probably notice I'm doing these in twos. I'm doing it in groups where these two cars have something in common, something very similar. What we're looking at today is Pacific Roadsters and Factory 5 Racing. I've got this down here because unfortunately it looks like these guys are gone. Called him a couple weeks ago. There was a voicemail there, never heard back from him. Tried to get on the website today, it's not gonna happen. The URL's up for grab. So it's too bad. I don't want to say it came real close, but I thought about buying one of these. Went up there and visited the place south of Salem, Oregon. One man show that builds this thing, like he's it, which is pretty impressive. He's very proud of his product, and I don't blame him. A good looking car, it's built on 4-inch tube frame and stuff laddered off it. Not a real close replica that way of the frame, but it's something, and as Cobra guys kind of like the idea of having a round tube frame that you're sitting on top of, because it's kind of like the original car, right? So I thought that was very cool about it. It uses a full length Mustang rear end, an 8.8, both these guys out of a Fox body, right? And so his, where he stretched the fenders over the longer rear end, it kind of shows. Little bubbly looking fenders in my opinion, but a good looking car. If you find one of these on the used market, you're buying a well-built car. When I was there, he had one in mid-build. He had another one that, the guy was putting a pretty serious 429 in it. I mean, it had head studs and aluminum heads and whatnot. So, I mean, it's probably like easily north of 650 horsepower deal in that frame. And the guy had driven it, and he says, the guy just absolutely loved it. Had it back there. They were doing some work on it. Also, it had one of his cars go off track in a road racing event and got beat up really hard. And he said he was really impressed with how the frame rails stayed together and the guy survived. So anyway, Pacific Roadsters, unfortunately you can't go buy one of those, but if you see one on the used market, I really believe you're buying a good car. Factory 5 Racing. These guys perfected, if you can perfect any business, selling a replica kit. They really did. 95, I think, is when they started, and their original deal was 10 grand and a Mustang, you can build a Cobra. The idea being that they had a kit where if you had a totaled GT Mustang, you could use the trans, you could use the engine, a bunch of pieces of the wiring harness, the rear differentials, some front end stuff. I mean, a lot of the car. But hey, I remember back then, I just thought it was like such a great idea. I mean, at that point, you're way under 20 grand. This is a long time ago to build a Cobra and have a decent one, right? They've redone the car a couple of times. I think it's a 4th generation one now, which looks really good. Now, this car, they do not claim that this is an exact, like it's not like a Kirkham, it's not like some of those that are a full-blown, it's the same measurements. Like you could put a template over like a NASCAR, that ain't gonna happen with one of these. But what they did really well is it's pretty hard to tell. They did a good job of massaging it into a little bit larger car. And they also have a race series where you can buy one of theirs. It's a race prep kit. And road race it against other people that have built those. It's withstanding that, it's got to be a pretty well-built frame, the abuse that cars taking a road racing series and having a bunch of them out there. They've sold thousands of them. I mean, they really have. And people like them. I've seen a ton of these at shows, and the build itself, varies because people are making them themselves. But I'll tell you what, people really seem to like them. They also have a Daytona Coupe kit. And the Daytona Coupe is when Shelby American decided they needed to put some aerodynamics in with the Cobra if it was going to go real fast down the straightaway. In Le Mans, there's a straightaway that's, I think, over 3 miles on the same straight, and apparently at like 165 miles an hour. The wind's getting under the car, wanting to lift the thing off the ground, which is not a good thing. And Pete Brock designed it, and you've probably seen and read and heard about that, but just an incredible design, especially for its time. And made from hey, we need to do this, to like showing up at a race in like 90 days. Like this is only going to happen in Southern California in the 60s with a shop full of hot rodders. Like it was kind of a miracle of 60s science kind of thing. Anyway, their kit. Looks really good. It's, I want to say it's 5 or 6 inches longer, the wheelbase. And a guy I talked to back there said that what they did is they grew the car about 6%, which is pretty smart. I mean, again, you look at those and you're not like going, oh, that thing looks stretched over that or pushed or pulled, a good looking car. Apparently they're very, very noisy. I haven't been in one. I've talked to a number of people that have driven them and they say it's louder than a Cobra, which seems strange because it has a roof. Cobra doesn't have a roof, but it is a rattling loud tin can. Well, it's fiberglass, but you know, it's an echo chamber in there. Like seriously, mandatory earplugs. Now, you could put roll-up windows. They don't really have windows, but you could put roll-up windows in it and, you know, dynamite and a bunch of interior in it and probably get it better. But everybody I've talked to says, yep, earplugs. And not that a Cobra's quiet, but you've got the sound dissipating away from the car instead of coming inside that car and getting you. And that's really, honestly, what I thought I was going to do. If you would have asked me this 3 months ago, I'm building a Daytona. Lived in Southern California all my life. We moved up here to Utah, like I probably mentioned earlier, a year ago. Kids and grandkids pulled us up here. And the weather's not as nice here as it is in Southern California. I mean, I knew that. But I thought, hey, maybe I want to build something with a roof, with air conditioning, with a heater and so on. I just decided not to. I wanted to build a Cobra every day since about 1985, and I really don't think that would have satisfied me as much as this Cobra project when I get it done. It would have been a very cool car, don't get me wrong. So, Factory 5 racing, if you find one on the used market, you're going to pay, you know, a lot less than you're going to pay for a Kirkham or a Shelby American or an ERA, but it's still a very well-built car. I think they will take a lot of abuse if you want a track day car. It would be a great one for that. And you can find these, hypothetically, you can find these mid-build where they're for sale. I have looked for an unfinished Cobra project on a regular basis for 5 years. I have not found one that's viable. I've talked to 10 people that says they built them. So I don't know how they magically find them, but if you're gonna find one, it's probably gonna be Factory 5 because that's the most popular kit out there. But you can imagine, you know, the whole fire sale thing, if somebody has one of these and decides he don't want to spend the rest of his life building it. So anyway, great car. Didn't decide to go with one of those. I really wanted something a little bit more original looking than this, but boy, it was a toss-up. I like the way these cars look. They've got a lot of proper cues on it and so on. So, Pacific Roadsters, good car. Factory 5, a good kit. If you had either one of these, I think you would love them. I see the good points of both of them. If you think one of these are the fit, get one of those, build it. I bet you'll love it. And send me a picture of it. I'd love to see it. Till next time, stay safe. Thanks.